We thought we were just filming a challenge. One night, 1 hour, in a dead amusement park. But we were wrong. They dared me. Of course they did. It's always me who has to prove something. Tom had that look in his eyes, the one that says, "Come on, don't be a chicken." Emma was already recording with her phone, half laughing, half serious. And Liam was leaning against his bike, arms crossed, pretending not to care. "You're telling me," I said, trying to sound bored, "that no one has ever gone in there since it shut down?" "Not for real," Tom said. "Some tried. Nobody stayed past sundown." "Because it's haunted?" I smirked. "Because it's cursed," Emma whispered like it was a joke. But her voice had a crack in it. Tiny, barely there. I caught it. The old amusement park had been closed for over a decade. Fence rusted, rides collapsed, weeds choking the pavement. Every kid in town had a version of the story. The girl who disappeared, the worker who lost his mind, the clown that never moved until someone looked away. Urban legends. I didn't believe in any of it. But that night, the way the clouds hung low, like the sky was holding its breath. Yeah, I felt something. "All right," I said. "We go in. 1 hour. Lights on. No splitting up." Emma grinned and gave a thumbs up. "For the views," she said, lifting her phone. Tom was already hopping the outer fence. "This is gonna be sick." Liam hesitated. Just a second. Just a blink. Then he followed. We moved through the overgrowth like explorers in a dead world. Branches clawed at our clothes. Dirt crunched under our sneakers. Every step felt louder than it should have been. Then, there it was. The front gate, twisted iron, vines curling through broken letters. Dreamland Park. Who names a place Dreamland and lets it rot like this? I muttered. Tom reached for the gate, and it opened. Smooth, no creak, no resistance. That's when I felt it, like the ground tilted under us for just a moment, like gravity remembered something we didn't. But none of us said a word. We were already inside. The air changed. It wasn't colder, just heavier, like breathing through someone else's lungs. We stood there, flashlights sweeping across broken ticket booths, shattered glass, collapsed cotton candy stands. There was a silence here that wasn't just quiet. It was waiting. Emma's phone light caught a sign. "Smile. You're about to have the time of your life." She read it out loud and then laughed, but no one else did. Behind us, the gate closed, not slammed, not even a sound. It just wasn't open anymore. Where none of us touched it. The gate, it just eased shut behind us, like it had been waiting. No wind, no hands, just done, closed. We stood there, all four of us, in that weird moment where no one wants to admit they're freaked out. But no one's joking anymore either. Tom broke the silence first. "Probably just gravity," he said too loud. "Old hinges," Liam muttered. "Hinges don't close against gravity." Emma turned in a slow circle, her phone's flashlight cutting across the shadows. "Guys," she said softer now, "does it feel weird to you?" It did. The air was wrong, not cold, not even damp, just off, like the difference between a real smile and a painted one, like the smell of something sweet right before it rots. And the silence wasn't silence. It was layered, like we were standing in the echo of a noise we hadn't heard yet. We moved forward. The pavement was cracked, roots pushing through like fingers. Dead leaves, shattered bulbs, bent poles. Everything leaned, like it had all taken one last breath before freezing in place. There was a ticket booth just ahead, covered in ivy. The glass was fogged from the inside. Emma wiped it with her sleeve. Nothing. Just darkness behind the glass. But I swear, for a second I saw a shape in there. Something hunched, motionless. Then the glass fogged again. Tom jumped up on the counter like a stage. "Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the grand reopening of Dreamland freaking Park." No one laughed. He hopped down, quieter now. We passed the welcome arch. The paint had peeled off in strips like something had clawed at it for years. The letters above us still hung in rusted iron. Dreamland, where the night never ends. Liam stopped. "What kind of slogan is that?" Emma whispered. "I don't think it's a slogan." The light was fading fast now, twilight bleeding into something thicker. Not quite night. Not yet. And then we heard it, a soft, mechanical click, 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 off in the distance, like something winding up, like gears trying to remember how to move after too long a sleep. We turned as one, the Ferris wheel, tall, crooked, half its cars missing. But the topmost cart, it was swaying, just a little, like something had climbed in. I didn't say anything. No one did. We just watched it. Then Tom said, "Okay, that's not creepy at all." But it was. It really, really was. The deeper we walked, the more everything looked paused, like someone hit stop right in the middle of a scream. The Ferris wheel stood crooked above us, its rusted joints groaning with the breeze, but only just. The top cart swayed once more, and then stillness. Perfect, unnatural stillness. Past it was a row of broken-down booths. Ring toss, pop a balloon, win a bear. Signs faded to ghosts. The prizes, still hanging. Moldy teddy bears with rotted button eyes. A clown doll, half melted by the sun, slumped sideways like it had given up waiting. Emma raised her phone and whispered, "Are you getting this?" But none of us answered. We were busy, listening. There was something under the silence now. Not a sound exactly, more like the memory of one. Laughter, soft, distant, the kind of sound that would make sense if the park were alive, filled with kids and music and overpriced cotton candy. But it wasn't alive, and we were alone. At least, we thought we were. "Do you guys smell that?" Liam asked suddenly. We all did. It hit fast, like something rotting under the sun. But there was no sun, and whatever it was sweet. Too sweet, like caramel, laced with decay. Tom made a face. "It's like popcorn and garbage had a baby." We rounded the corner and found a food stand. The glass was cracked. Inside were trays, empty mostly, but one of them had popcorn, real popcorn, fluffy, yellow, like it had just been made. Emma took a step closer. "No way," she breathed. "Don't touch it," I said, too quickly, too sharp. She stopped. "Why not?" I didn't have an answer, just this sick twist in my gut. Like if she touched that popcorn, something would notice, something that had been waiting. We moved on. There was a ride ahead, one of those spinning teacup things. The cups sat tilted at odd angles, as if the ride had stopped mid-spin and never recovered. Inside one of them was a stuffed rabbit, perfectly clean, like it didn't belong here. Emma reached for her camera again, but this time her hands shook. "Guys, this place feels like it's pretending." "Pretending what?" Tom asked. "To be dead," she whispered. No one laughed. Behind us, somewhere, far too close, the Ferris wheel groaned again. Not like metal in the wind, more like something waking up. We found the mirror room by accident. It was tucked between two crumbling rides, one of those swinging pirate ships and something we couldn't even name anymore. just a twisted skeleton of metal. The sign above the mirror house was half gone. Just the letters Oreo Maze hanging like teeth. Tom grinned. Classic, he said. Let's get lost. The entrance was a black flap of canvas, flapping softly even though there was no wind. Inside, it was colder, not freezing, just wrong, like the air hadn't been touched in years. Dust hung in the light like fog. The mirrors were cracked, warped, smeared with age. Our reflections stretched and curled in impossible shapes. I took a step forward, and 100 versions of me did the same. Some too tall, some too thin, some delayed by half a second. Emma whispered, "Okay, this is giving Major Nope vibes." We fanned out, carefully. The floor creaked. Somewhere glass tinkled, like something just shifted. My light bounced off surface after surface. My face, my back, the corner of Emma's jacket. Then something else. Something that didn't move. I froze. It was tall, too tall, and still. A shape in the mirror that didn't match any of us. Tom said, you guys seeing that?" "Yeah," I breathed. We turned. Nothing behind us. Looked back. Still there. The shape had moved closer, just slightly. Its head tilted now like it was listening. Emma stepped back, bumped into me. "Don't look away," she said. Too late. Liam turned around first. "There's nothing there," he said. "You're freaking yourselves." He was gone. Not screamed, not dragged, just gone. We shouted, "Liam!" Nothing. Then Emma gasped and pointed. His reflection was still in the mirror, standing there, eyes wide. But when we turned to where he should have been, only air. Tom rushed to the spot. Nothing. No trapdoor, no sound, no Liam. Just his face, staring back from glass. Except, it blinked. Once. Emma cried out, "That's not a reflection." I grabbed her hand. "Move, now." We turned, trying to retrace our steps. But the maze was different. The path twisted. Walls weren't where they'd been. Our reflections followed, but sometimes they didn't match. Tom turned a corner and vanished. I swear. Gone in a blink. I looked in the mirror where he just stood, and there he was, behind glass, smiling. But it wasn't his smile. It was wider. We made it out of the mirror maze. Somehow, the flap behind us fell closed with a thud that felt too final. Like the maze wasn't letting us go, just giving us a head start. We stood there, catching our breath. No Liam, no Tom, just me and Emma. She wasn't looking at me. Her eyes were somewhere else. Not the sky, not the path. Just beyond. "Emma," I said, "you okay?" She blinked slowly, then nodded. Too slowly. "Yeah, I'm fine, She tilted her head. "You hear that?" I strained my ears. "Hear what?" "That voice." "What voice?" She smiled. Not like herself. Not all the way. "It's soft," she said. "Like it's under the ground, or in the walls." Her hand reached out, not to me, but to the empty air beside her. "He says he remembers me," she whispered. My blood turned cold. "Emma, stop. This isn't funny." She laughed, sharp, sudden, wrong. "Oh, relax," she said, flicking her flashlight at me. "I'm messing with you." But her voice trembled, just a crack, a tremor under the joke. I didn't buy it. We started walking again, past the old bumper cars, their shells collapsed like rusted beetles. The sky was darker now, though no stars showed. Just that heavy, gray-black nothing. Emma was quiet. Then, "Do you ever think places can want something?" I looked at her. "What do you mean?" She kept walking. didn't look back. Like, maybe it's not haunted. Maybe it's just hungry. I stopped. Emma, seriously, stop. She turned slowly. Her eyes met mine, and for one awful second, I didn't recognize her. Then she blinked, shook her head. Sorry, she said. Weird thoughts, probably adrenaline. But she kept glancing sideways, kept twitching like someone was brushing her shoulder, whispering in her ear. I thought about grabbing her phone, checking if she was recording all this, if this was still some prank. But something told me not to touch her. Not right now. Not when her shadow looked just a little too long. She said it again, softer this time. He's calling me. And then louder. I'm coming. She took off into the dark, flashlight bobbing wildly. Emma! I ran after her, but the path twisted again. Or maybe I did. Because the next time I saw her, she wasn't running anymore. She was standing, still, facing the carousel, and it had started to turn. I didn't even see him walk up. 1 second, it was just me and Emma by the carousel. Next, Tom. Standing there like he'd never vanished, like the mirror maze hadn't swallowed him whole. Miss me? He grinned. I froze. Tom. Emma didn't move. Her eyes were still locked on the carousel, spinning slow and silent. Lights off, but turning. He laughed. What, no hug? I stepped back. Where did you go? He shrugged. Around. Got turned around, ended up at the arcade. You guys really just left me? You vanished, I said. You weren't. He held up a hand. Chill, man, I'm fine. We're all fine. His eyes flicked to Emma. Mostly. She still hadn't blinked. Tom crouched by a cracked wooden bench near the carousel, pulled something from his pocket. A lighter, not lit. Remember Bloody Mary? He said. I stared at him. What? That dumb game. The mirror chant thing. Say her name 3 times. She shows up. Blah, blah, blah. Why are you talking about that? He flicked the lighter open, closed, open again. I was thinking, he said. What if this place works the same way? No, I said. Yes, he grinned wider. What if we give it what it wants? Attention, fear, focus. He pulled a broken shard of glass from the bench, probably from one of the booths. Let's summon it. Tom, I'm serious. He sat cross-legged on the cracked pavement. Come on, old school seance. Circle. Words. Boom. We take back control. Control. That word felt like a joke here. But Emma finally turned, sat down beside him without a word. I didn't want to, but I didn't want to be alone either. We joined hands. The carousel behind us creaked softly, still turning. Tom closed his eyes. Spirit of Dreamland, he intoned, like some bad horror movie. We call you, come to us. Nothing. He repeated it, slower, louder. Spirit of Dreamland, we call you, come to us. The lighter sparked. The carousel lights flickered, just once, then again. Then the music started, faint, out of tune. That old calliope sound, dragging itself from broken speakers. Emma started humming along. Tom's grin faded. Okay, he said, voice quieter now. That's enough. We let go. The lights didn't stop. The music got louder. Something moved on the ride. Not a shadow, not a trick, a figure, sitting on one of the horses, just barely visible in the spin. I turned to Tom, but he wasn't looking anymore. He was staring straight ahead, mouth open, eyes wide, whispering, "That's not how the game goes." It started with one light, a flicker above the carousel, then another, then all of them, bulbs lining the ride, blinking on in slow, jittering pulses. Yellow, red, green, but dull, like the color had been drained and only the memory of it remained. Then the music kicked in fully, that warped, wheezing tune, the carousel calliope, dragging itself through half-broken speakers, too slow, notes bending out of key, like a song that forgot how to be happy. Emma swayed a little, still humming, still off. Her eyes were glassy, unfocused. "Emma," I said. She didn't answer. Tom stood up too fast. "We should go," he muttered. I almost laughed. Now he says that, then the rest of the park lit up, all at once. Every ride, every booth, every sign. Boom. Dead bulbs flaring to life, but not like real light. This wasn't electricity. It was colder somehow. Pale. Almost moonlight, but greenish. Sickly. I turned in a slow circle. The roller coaster loomed ahead, its tracks groaning as carts jerked forward. No one in them, just empty seats screeching along rusted rails. The swinging ship creaked side to side. A popcorn machine lit up, spilling out blackened kernels that smelled like burning sugar and wet soil. And the laughter started again. Not ours, not human. It echoed through the park, high-pitched, layered, like 10 voices stacked on top of each other, all laughing at the wrong time. Emma giggled, then clamped her hand over her mouth like she didn't mean to. I grabbed her wrist. "We're leaving." She looked at me almost lucid. "He doesn't want us to." "Who?" She didn't answer. Tom was backing away now, flashlight trembling in his grip. This can't be power. The grid's dead. There's no..." The lights behind him blinked twice, then pulsed like a heartbeat. The spinning teacups ride rattled into motion, one of them dragging a chain behind it that scraped sparks across the pavement. Emma whispered, "It's performing." "What?" "For us." I didn't want to look, but I did. Everything moved in rhythm, a slow, creeping rhythm, like the park itself was alive and dancing. Performing for us, yeah, but not because it wanted to, because it had to, because it had done this before, and it would do it again. Tom dropped his flashlight. The bulb shattered, but there was no darkness. The park glowed without it, and somewhere behind us, a voice whispered something low, guttural, almost pleased. The door wasn't there before. It stood between two crumbling stalls painted in bright reds and yellows that hadn't faded like everything else. Fresh, wet almost. The sign above it swung slightly even though the air was still. "Fun house. Laugh yourself to death." None of us spoke. Then Tom moved, fast, like something pulled him, or maybe like he'd already decided, and the rest of him just caught up. He stepped toward the door, reached for the handle. "Tom," I said, "don't..." Too late. The door creaked open and a blast of warm, sweet air hit us in the face. The smell of candy apples and rot. And then the door slammed shut behind him. Gone. Just gone. Emma screamed. I ran. The handle was ice cold. I yanked it open. Nothing but black inside. No light, no sound. Just a thick, pressing dark that felt alive. "Tom!" No answer. I turned to Emma. "Stay close." We stepped inside together. Instant silence. No wind, no outside noise. Even the cursed music from the park vanished, like this place existed in its own world. Flashlights up. The hallway stretched too far, walls striped in carnival colors. The floor shifted beneath us. Not a trick floor, not springs or spongy rubber. It felt like breathing. We moved fast. Mirrors lined the walls, but not normal ones. They didn't show us right. My reflection lagged behind. Emma's walked without moving her legs, and behind both of us, something else. I stopped. "Did you see that?" Emma nodded. Her voice was tight. I don't think that was us. We turned a corner and the hallway split. Left, a staircase spiraling up. Right, a tunnel pulsing with dim red light. No signs, no clues, and no Tom. We took the tunnel. Halfway through, the walls started closing in. Not literally, but the mirrors curved in strange ways. The reflections got closer. I reached out once, and my own hand jerked away. Not mine. Emma grabbed my sleeve. Did you hear that? I did. Footsteps, running, then laughter. Wet. Too close. We ran. Doors slammed behind us as we moved. Lights blinked out one by one. The floor tilted, threw us into each other, forward, down. We crashed into a new room, and there he was, Tom, sitting on a tilted couch, eyes open, staring at nothing, smiling. But his mouth was twitching, like he didn't want to smile anymore, like he couldn't stop. The room was wrong, too wide for the building we'd seen outside. The floor dipped in the middle, sloping like a drained pool, and everything in it looked staged. Plastic furniture, fake plants, an old TV looping static even though nothing was plugged in. And Tom, still sitting, still smiling, but the smile was too wide now. Stretched, forced, his lips twitching like they were being pulled. "Tom," I said, "can you hear me?" He didn't blink. Emma moved closer, kneeling in front of him. "Tom, please." Nothing. Then his mouth moved, not to speak, to laugh. Quiet at first. A low, shuddering sound, as if he didn't want it, as if it was being dragged out of him by invisible hooks in his throat. Then louder, sharp, broken. Emma backed away. That's not his laugh. And she was right. It was wrong. Too deep. Too many. It echoed off every wall, each reflection bouncing it back in a slightly different pitch. Layered. Shifting. Building. I grabbed her arm. "We need to go." We turned to the hallway, but it was gone. Not just dark. Gone. Where the tunnel had been was now a solid mirror wall, stretching from floor to ceiling. Our reflection stood in it, pale and shaking, mouths closed. But the laughter kept coming. It didn't echo now. It chased, from somewhere behind the mirror, through it, under the floor. I couldn't tell. It was everywhere, crawling through the walls like smoke. Emma clutched her head. "It's inside me," she whispered. "I feel it laughing through me." We ran. We didn't know where, just deeper. The mirrors blinked in and out like strobes. Sometimes they showed us, sometimes something else. Figures tall and stretched, heads tilting just a second too late, hands reaching, and that laughing. Louder, closer, sharper, like glass breaking in your ears. We burst into another room. Spinning floors, a slanted ceiling, every surface polished to reflect 1,000 angles of our fear. Emma screamed. I turned, but there was no one behind us, just reflections. But in one of them, I wasn't moving. I stood still, smiling, grinning, laughing without sound. Until, suddenly, I did hear it, right next to my ear. Hot breath, a whisper buried in laughter. "Don't run, it always finds you." The lights above us exploded, and the world went dark again. I don't remember blacking out. 1 second there was light, spinning, flashing, cracking, and the next just darkness. Weightless, endless darkness, like I fell out of time. When I opened my eyes, I was alone. The funhouse was silent, still, no laughter, no mirrors, just the quiet buzz of something waiting. I called her name. "Emma." No answer. My voice sounded flat, swallowed by the air. I pushed myself up, my head pounding, ears still ringing with echoes I couldn't place. I tried to retrace my steps, but the hallways were different again. The walls stretched too tall, the floor too soft, like walking through memory instead of space. Then I saw her, Emma, standing at the end of the corridor, still facing me. Emma! She didn't move. I walked closer, cautiously. The closer I got, the more I noticed something wasn't right. She was breathing, but not like a person out of breath, like something remembering how to. Her eyes found mine, but they weren't hers. They were empty, glassy, too still. "Are you okay?" I whispered. She nodded, slow, too slow. "I'm fine," she said. But the voice wasn't hers. It had the shape of it, the tone, the texture, but none of the soul. It was hollow, a recording, a mask, and she didn't blink. "Where's Tom?" I asked. She tilted her head. "Who?" I stepped back. She stepped forward. Her smile was soft, too soft, like someone had drawn it on with trembling hands. "You should have stayed in the mirror," she said. "What?" Another blink, finally, but wrong. Too fast, then too long, like she was trying it out. "I saw you," she continued, "smiling. You looked happy there." My stomach turned. I forced a laugh. "Very funny, Em." "Do you remember when we were kids?" she asked, eyes never leaving mine. "When we used to pretend places could be alive?" I nodded slowly. "Maybe," she said. "They were pretending too." Then she turned and started walking. No flashlight, no fear. Just forward. Like she knew exactly where to go. Like something was guiding her. I followed because I didn't want to be alone. But the whole time, every step, I couldn't stop thinking, "That's not Emma." And worse, she's not the only one watching me. The air changed again when we stepped outside. Heavier, like it knew we were getting closer. The carousel was turning. Still slow. Still wrong. Lights pulsing like a heartbeat too far gone. The music had stopped, but the silence was louder. Emma walked ahead of me, never glancing back. I wanted to stop her. I didn't. The closer we got, the more I saw it wasn't like before. It wasn't horses on the ride. It was people. Figures, motionless, posed like mannequins, bolted to the poles. But not random, not strangers. I saw Tom first, his face tilted upward, mouth stretched in that same broken grin, hands gripping the pole like he'd been frozen mid-scream. Then Liam, slumped, head low, eyes open. I staggered back. "No, no, this can't." Emma kept walking. One figure ahead of her turned slowly as the carousel spun, the face catching the flickering light. It was me. I swear to God, it was me. Same hoodie, same eyes, same scar above my eyebrow. But the expression was wrong. My mouth was twisted. My eyes were hollow, like something had scooped me out and left the shape behind. I couldn't breathe. I looked at Emma. Finally, she stopped. She turned to me, smiling that too soft smile. "I told you," she said. "He remembers us." I shook my head. "This isn't real." She raised a hand and pointed, not at the carousel, but at the space above it. "Look." I did. There were faces in the air, reflections flickering like film negatives, blinking in and out. Kids, dozens of them, all watching. All silent, and some of them. Some I recognized, from school, from the news, from missing posters. The carousel creaked, slowed. The music started again, soft and broken. My voice cracked. "Why are you showing me this?" Emma stepped onto the platform. "Because you already belong here," she said. The lights flared once, and the figure of me on the ride turned its head, looked right at me, smiled. then whispered something I couldn't hear, but I didn't need to. I already knew, because deep down I felt it too. I'd never left. Not really. And the thing riding the carousel now, that was the part of me that stayed. We didn't speak after the carousel. There wasn't anything left to say. Emma kept walking like the path was already written, like every step had been taken 100 times before. I followed because stopping felt worse. Like if I stood still too long, the ground would open and pull me in. We came to a tunnel, a black mouth in the earth, low and wide, framed by rusted metal. The faded sign above read, "Scream Stream, the ride of your life." The tracks disappeared into the dark. Beside them, a line of carts like roller coaster cars. 6 in a row, all cracked and bleeding rust. The kind of thing you'd never step into by choice. Emma didn't hesitate. She climbed in and sat without a word. I stood at the edge. The tunnel exhaled. It wasn't wind. It was breath. Warm, slow, rotten. "Emma," I said, "we don't have to do this." She looked back at me. Her voice was calm. "You're already here." I climbed in beside her. The cart jerked forward, slow at first, then faster. The tunnel swallowed us. Total darkness. Then, a scream. Not ours. It came from ahead, echoing down the track. A raw, tearing sound. Human but stretched too far, like someone screaming through broken glass. I reached for Emma's hand. Cold. The cart rattled around a corner. A strobe flickered, just once. In that flash, I saw shadows. On the walls, running. Too fast. Arms too long. No faces, just mouths. Another flash. They were closer. Emma whispered something, too soft to hear. "What?" I shouted. She didn't answer. Then the sound came again. Not just one scream now. Dozens. Layered. Children. Adults. All twisted into something else. Like pain had learned how to harmonize. The lights strobed again. Faster now. Figures lined the walls. Clinging to the edges. Watching. Some moved with the cart, crawling, following. The air thickened. I couldn't breathe. "Make it stop!" I shouted. Emma turned her head slowly. Her eyes glowed white in the flashes. "You wanted to see," she said. The cart dropped. A steep plunge into deeper black. The screams chasing us down like wolves. I closed my eyes, but it didn't help. Because in the dark, I could still hear them whispering my name. Not once. Not from one voice. From hundreds. Over and over. Like a promise. When the cart finally stopped, there was no announcement. No lights. Just a soft click and silence. I stumbled out first, legs shaking. Emma followed. She didn't even look around. Just walked like she knew the place already. We were in a wide open space now. The center of the park, maybe. A circle of cracked pavement with a broken clock tower rising from the middle. Its face was shattered, hands frozen. 3:17. I checked my phone. Dead. Battery had been full when we got here. I tapped the screen anyway. Nothing. Then I realized I couldn't remember how long we'd been inside. Not just the ride, the park. I looked at Emma. "How long has it been?" She didn't answer. "Emma." Still nothing. I turned in a slow circle. The sky was dark, but not night. Not day either. That dead, colorless gray that doesn't belong to any hour, like time had stalled here, or left entirely. There was a payphone booth nearby, one of those old glass ones you only see in movies now. I walked over, lifted the receiver, no dial tone, but I heard something. Breathing. Slow. Deep. I dropped it, ran back to Emma. "We have to go." She looked at me. Her voice was flat. We've been here longer than you think. What? She reached into her pocket, pulled out her phone. The screen was lit, barely, glitched. Then she showed it to me. It read, 4:12 p.m., then blinked. 5:03 a.m., then static. What is this? I asked. She smiled. You really don't get it? I backed away. No, this isn't real. This is some trick, a setup, a dream. It's not a dream. Emma's voice was calm, empty. It just feels like one, because time doesn't work here anymore. I looked at the sky. The clouds weren't moving. Nothing was. No breeze, no sound. Even the trees stood frozen in mid-sway. And then I heard footsteps, fast, scattered, coming from different directions. But there was no one there. I turned again, full circle, no one, no Emma, just the sound of clocks ticking, thousands of them, but no rhythm, no order, just chaos. I screamed her name, screamed for Tom, for Liam, for anyone. No one came, only the clock tower looming over me, its shattered face grinning wide like it knew. We hadn't been here an hour, not even close. We'd been here forever. I heard my name, not loud, not urgent, just there, soft, familiar. Jake. I spun around, and there he was, Liam, standing at the edge of the clock tower's shadow, dirty, pale, eyes sunken, but alive. He looked like he'd been crying, or maybe just hadn't stopped. Liam, Jesus, where have you been? I ran to him, grabbed his arm. He didn't hug me back, just stood there, silent. I backed up. Hey, say something. His lips trembled. I didn't want to come back. I blinked. What? I told you this was just a stupid dare, he said, but I lied. His voice shook now. I've been here before. The world tilted around me. No, that's not... No, you... I was 8, he said, eyes locked on the cracked pavement. My dad brought me here. Said it was abandoned, thought it'd be fun to explore. One last adventure before he moved out. He laughed, sharp, empty. We came in through the fence, same as we did tonight, found the carousel, the mirrors, the tunnel. He paused, swallowed hard. But we didn't find a way out. My chest tightened. What happened? Liam looked up, and there was something in his eyes I'll never forget. Not fear. Guilt. He made me hide in a photo booth, he whispered. Said, don't move no matter what you hear. And I didn't. His voice broke. I heard him scream, heard him beg. Then, silence. My skin went cold. I waited until it was quiet again, he said. Then I ran. I don't know how I found the way out, but I did. I never told anyone. I tried to speak, but nothing came. I thought if I ignored it, he said, it would forget me. But it didn't. It calls in circles, years apart, just waiting. He looked up at me, eyes glassy. And now you're here, all of you, because I brought us back. You didn't know, I said. You couldn't have known. I did know, he snapped. I felt it when Tom dared us. When you said yes, I felt it wake up, then softer, almost broken. I think it's always been part of me. Since that night. Behind him, the clock tower groaned. A low metallic sound. Grinding. Shifting. Liam took a step back. I'm sorry, he said. I thought maybe if it took me this time. A light flickered behind his eyes. It had let you go. Then he turned and walked into the dark. And I never saw him again. I wandered for what felt like hours, maybe longer. There was no sun to mark the time, No sound but my own heartbeat, pounding in my ears like a drum growing distant. And then I saw it. In the very center of the park, past the broken coaster and the dead games, stood a small wooden structure. Red curtains, a sagging banner above the stage, the letters curling and faded. The puppet show, every hour on the hour. There was no one there, no audience, but the curtain rustled. I didn't want to go closer, but my feet moved anyway, drawn, compelled. The wooden benches out front were warped and rotting, yet something about them felt used, as if people had been sitting there just moments before, watching, waiting. The music began, soft, twinkling, like a child's lullaby played on keys dipped in rust. Then the curtain rose, and they were there, the puppets, old marionettes, dangling by strings that shimmered in the sickly light. Their painted faces cracked with time, eyes too wide, limbs jerking in little spasms that didn't match the music. But they moved, on their own, no one above, no strings pulled. They moved. One stepped forward, its head turned toward me with a creak that made my skin crawl. It opened its mouth, and it spoke. But not in wood or wind, in Liam's voice. "I'm sorry, Jake." I stumbled back. The puppet's mouth moved with the words, not out of sync, not delayed. Perfectly, as if Liam had never left, as if he was inside. Another puppet moved beside it, this one taller. Black suit, red painted grin. It reached out with one wooden hand and pulled on a thread, and behind them a shape descended. Limp, familiar. It was Liam, eyes glassy, mouth slack. But when the puppet spoke again, his lips moved too. "I told you," they said in unison. "I thought it would let you go." He blinked. A tear slipped down his cheek, but he didn't move, didn't resist. He was part of it now. The puppets began to dance, jerking in chaotic rhythm, the music twisting faster. Whispers rose behind me, a crowd I couldn't see. The benches were still empty, but I wasn't alone. Not anymore. The puppeteer stepped forward. Not wood, not man. Something else. Its hands were empty, but my arms started to lift on their own. Like strings had found me too. I tried to scream, but my mouth only opened when it allowed it. And from my throat, I heard a voice say, "Showtime." I ran. Don't ask how I got free. Maybe it let me go. Maybe it wanted me to keep going, to see the end. The music from the puppet show faded behind me, drowned by my own footsteps echoing through the empty park. I didn't know where I was going until I saw it, a door, just hanging there. No walls, no frame, just suspended in the air, a few feet above the ground. Wooden, old, painted blue with a tarnished brass handle, floating like it had always been there, and somehow I'd only just noticed. I stopped cold. There was nothing behind it, just open air, no wires, no tricks. But the doorknob turned, slowly. My breath caught in my throat. Then I heard it, a voice, coming from behind the door. Faint at first, then clearer. My voice, but I wasn't speaking. "Come in," it said, soft, calm, familiar. I took a step back. Then again, "Come in, Jake." Chill ran through me. I didn't know how, but it sounded exactly like me. Same tone, same rhythm. Even the same hesitation I'd heard in my own voice all night. It laughed, a dry, sad sound. "You're almost there." "No," I whispered. "You're not me." A pause, then, "I'm what's left of you." The door opened on its own. Behind it, nothing, just pure black. Not darkness like night, but darkness like absence. Like falling off the edge of everything. I felt something pull, not my body, my thoughts, my memories. Faces flickered in the corners of my mind. Emma, Tom, Liam, me. Not like memories, like replacements. Images swapped and shuffled, like I was being rewritten from the inside. No, I said louder. I'm real. I'm still. You're remembered, the voice corrected. That's not the same thing. Wind started rushing past me from the open door, except there was no wind in the park, no movement. It was sucking inward. I tried to turn, but my feet stuck, like the ground was glue, like the park had made up its mind. Then I saw it, through the black, a face, my face, smiling from within, mouth moving, and I finally understood. It hadn't been chasing me. It had been calling me back, because I was already on the other side, and everything since was just a way of finding the door. They were all gone. Emma, Tom, Liam, one by one, like someone erasing names from a list. I don't know when it happened. Not exactly. I'd turn around and someone just wasn't there anymore. No scream, no warning, no goodbye. Just a hollow space where they'd been. And now it was just me, alone. Not even my footsteps sounded right anymore. They echoed weird, like I was walking through someone else's memory. I kept hearing my name, not in one place, everywhere. Soft at first, then louder, urgent. Jake, whispered through speakers, murmured in the wind. Sometimes it sounded like Emma, sometimes like my mom. Once it was my own voice, but always wrong, off by a beat, too slow, too smooth, like someone trying to remember how a person should sound. I stumbled through the funhouse ruins, through the cracked arcade, past the dead eyes of claw machines filled with plush toys that never blinked, except when I wasn't looking. The park felt smaller now, like it was folding in on itself, corridors vanishing, doors that led to walls, rides that stopped moving the moment I turned away, like they were holding their breath, waiting. I passed a mirror. I didn't stop, but I caught a glimpse. It wasn't me. Not really. The face was mine, but older. Or maybe just more tired, hollowed out. Its eyes followed me long after I passed. Then I heard it again. Jake. I froze, that voice. Tom, no doubt. It was coming from just ahead, behind the old carousel, now motionless. Lights off. The air around it felt colder than the rest of the park. I stepped closer. Tom? Nothing. Then from the other side, Jake, help me. Emma, I turned too fast. Now Liam's voice. Jake, please. Pleading. Every direction, every voice. Too many, all layered, all wrong. I covered my ears, but the voices slipped through anyway, like thoughts that weren't mine. Don't leave me. Why didn't you save us? Stay with us. The lights flickered overhead, once, twice, then everything went dark, total black. The voices stopped, not faded, stopped, and I realized something. They weren't calling me. They were calling through me to the next one, to whoever was listening. And for the first time since I stepped into this place, I wasn't sure if I had ever really existed at all. I don't know why I sat down. Maybe I was tired. Maybe the park wanted me to. Or maybe I'd always been heading here. The ride looked like a train, the kind you'd see in cartoons, built for kids, painted red and gold, chipped and weathered, the paint peeling like old skin. The track stretched forward into a tunnel shaped like a grinning clown's mouth. The eyes above it were empty sockets. I climbed in. The seat was still warm. That should have scared me, but it didn't. Nothing did anymore. The safety bar clicked down on its own. No motor started. No bell rang. But the cart began to move, gliding forward into the dark. No sounds now, not even my breath. Just the slow, smooth motion of wheels against a track that didn't seem to exist. The tunnel swallowed me whole. Inside, the walls pulsed, not lit. Alive. Memories flashed across them like film, flickering scenes I didn't recognize, but they felt familiar. A birthday, a hallway, a flashlight flickering on. Emma's laugh. But they weren't mine. Not all of them. I saw kids I'd never met, rides I'd never ridden, screams I'd never made. The cart sped up, now faces blurred past, some twisted in fear, others smiling, others blank. Some looked like mine, some were mine, all different, all wrong. I wasn't the first, I wasn't special, just another name, another seat on the ride. The track dipped suddenly and I felt weightless. But there was no wind, no gravity, just the sensation of falling without direction, falling inside myself. Then it leveled out. The walls opened. I saw the park again, empty, still. The lights were off. The rides were still. The mirrors were cracked. The voices were silent. But I knew it wasn't over. Not really, because deep inside the heart of this place, something was still watching, still remembering, still waiting. The cart slowed, stopped. The safety bar rose. I didn't move. There was nowhere else to go. This was it, not the end. Just the last loop before someone else steps in. And when they do, they'll hear the music. They'll see the lights. They'll feel the pull. And maybe they'll think it's their idea, but it never is. It wasn't mine. It never is. The ride always finds you. And once you sit down, you never really get off. There's nothing now. No lights. No movement. Not even the hum the park always carried. That low, pulsing sound just beneath the surface, like a heart too slow to beat. Gone. It's quiet, but not peaceful. It's the kind of silence that presses against your ears, makes your head ring, like the world forgot what sound was supposed to be. I step out of the ride. The air is heavy, dense. Every breath feels like dragging something through water. I walk. I don't know where I'm going. The paths are different again. The gates, gone. The rides, still. They've finally stopped pretending. No shadows move. No reflections twitch. The carousel is dark. The mirrors are cracked. The puppet stage is empty. Curtains torn. Like the whole park exhaled for the last time. I call out once. Hello? My voice doesn't echo. It just falls. Flat. Swallowed. I try again. Is anyone still here? Silence. But there's a part of me that hopes that maybe somehow someone's listening. I keep talking, not because I think it'll help, but because the silence is worse. It makes me feel like I'm already not real, like I stopped existing the second the ride ended. So I speak about Emma's laugh, about Tom's stupid grin, about the way Liam would hum when he was nervous. I speak about the sun, the real one, how it feels on your face after a long day, how shadows stretch when it sets. I try to remember it all. And then I stop walking. There's something ahead, a shape, not a door, not a person, just space. Blank, white. For the first time, there's no fear, just a question. Am I done? Is this the exit? Or just the last illusion? I don't know, but I step forward anyway, because maybe, just maybe, this is what comes after the silence. And maybe someone will hear this. Maybe someone will know I was here, even if I wasn't real, even if I'm just an echo. That has to count for something, right? Did you really think I was Jake? That I was telling my story? That I made it out? No. Jake didn't make it out. None of them did. The park doesn't let go. It remembers every laugh, every scream, every step and shiver and whispered name. It holds on to them, loops them, plays them backs again and again. That's what you heard. Not a survivor, just a performance, a memory, retold in a voice it borrowed. The voice you're hearing now, the one you trusted, the one you followed, second by second, heartbeat by heartbeat, thinking maybe this time someone lives. But that's not how this place works. Dreamland doesn't end. It replays. Every ride, every door, every trick of the mirror, every choice that felt like yours, it wasn't. It was part of the pattern, part of the script. And you listened, you followed me through every chapter, every shadow, every scream. That's all it needs, attention. That's the price. See, you didn't escape either. Not really, you let it in. It's already started, hasn't it? You checked the clock once or twice while listening, and now you're not quite sure what time it is. The air feels different, the room a little quieter than before, the shadows longer than they should be. You'll brush it off, at first. But later tonight, when the lights flicker just once for no reason, when you hear a laugh from behind a door you know is locked, when a voice calls your name just once, in the exact tone you thought only you had, you'll remember the story, and you'll wonder, was I ever really alone? Or did I step into something? Something that only needed to be heard to be real again. You did hear it, all of it, which means it knows you now, knows your name, your voice, your fear. So if you hear that carousel creak tonight, if you wake up to distant music playing from nowhere, if your reflection ever moves just half a second too slow, don't panic. It just means the park remembers you too, and it's ready, because Dreamland is always open, and your ride starts soon.